Welcome to Over the Line, the football debate show by fans for fans. My name is Dave O, and joining me today we have Cyril and Gavin. Gents, welcome. How are you?
Good, how are you?
All good, all good.
Oh, good.
How are you, Cyril?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah.
Good, good. Right, so let's run straight through the weekend's results, and then we'll get into the crazy match that saw Manchester United and Bournemouth share 8 goals. So, starting off with Saturday's results, first game of the weekend saw Chelsea beat Everton 2-0 at home. Next up, Liverpool beat Brighton 2-0, a rare clean sheet for Liverpool and a rare victory considering recent form. Burnley then went on to lose 3-2 at home to Fulham. Arsenal laboured to a 2-1 win over Wolves. We will be discussing that match. We will be coming to you, Gavin, to share your thoughts on that, especially. Next up into the Sunday games, we saw Man City beat Crystal Palace 3-0 away from home. Uh, I don't think that score represented what the match was like because Palace missed some gilded chances and hit the woodwork once or twice. Forest beat Tottenham 3-0 at home. Good to see Tottenham returning back to old ways. Sunderland beat Newcastle 1-0. West Ham lost a 5-goal thriller 3-2 to Aston Villa at home. And the final game of the Sunday saw Brentford and Leeds draw 1-1. And moving on to Monday's results, final game of the weekend saw Manchester United and Bournemouth draw 4-4. Cyril, we're going to come to you first on this one. Just after tell us what the table looks like. So we've got Arsenal in first place on 36 points. Just to apologise, the thumbnail for the live does say Game Week 15 review, as does the title of the video. It is actually the Game Week 16 review because all teams have played 16 games now. So Arsenal in first place on 36 points. Next up, Manchester City on 34, Aston Villa on 33, Chelsea rounding out the top four on 28 points, and then we see Crystal Palace in fifth on 26, as are Manchester United and Liverpool and Sunderland. Relegation, it looks like Burnley and Wolves are pretty much gone. West Ham 3 points behind Leeds, so the scrap could be between those two. So let's come to the weekend's results, namely Manchester United. Cyril, 4-4 game. I don't know if you saw the match, but it for me, hands down, probably game of the season so far. Back and forth, goals galore. Give us your thoughts on what you saw from that game.
I didn't expect it to go like that from the first half. From the first half, I thought that we should have definitely got a couple more. And if we'd been more clinical, I think that would have probably at least taken us to the W. But credit to them, they did their thing. But I think also there were a couple of mistakes or a couple of our back line definitely. They kind of showed that we definitely needed a bit more strength and depth in there. Now, obviously, we had a couple of younger defenders back there. Haven, but I mean, again, I don't want to take it. He's a young defender. I really like him. I think he has a lot of potential. So but there was certain. You could even see there was one of the goals. You could see Mason Mount saying like, "Come closer," and then and then he didn't, and then obviously that was where the goal came from. But I think the key thing was from last season or last time around, that game there, we would have lost. I think there's so many games this season we're saying we would have lost. What's clear though is that our attack is looking healthy or healthier. We got past 2 games, we've got 8 goals. None of them own goals, but we've got 8 goals so far for the past couple of games. And so I think we're heading in the right direction in terms of going forward. But again, any single game going out there, I can be honest. I'm a football fan. I'm a United fan first, but I'm a football fan. It's like there's no way I can actually ever feel comfortable knowing what's going to happen in the game. It doesn't matter if we're winning. Even when we were winning, I was like, there's going to be another goal. They're going to score a goal. And then they scored a goal, and I was about to type and I should have just sent a message in the group chat to say they're going to score a goal, because 2 minutes later they scored a goal, and I was like, there you go. And that's kind of like what we're kind of known for right now. But, again, I think even the I wouldn't say that word, that guy there. But even with him, he mentioned about how that was the United he used to, recognize in terms of, just attack after attack after attack, and that kind of felt good.
Yeah.
But it's just more clinical. Again, if we can continue to score goals and then stop the goals being scored against us, we would definitely look very different. I mean, a couple of games, again, I keep on saying this, but a couple of games that we would have won, including that one, we would definitely be, closer up the table. I'm not saying we're going to be, we're not here to, trying to like be on the title race, but what I'm saying is to go from where we were last season to be, say, a couple of games if we'd won, we would have been, second or third. Yeah. I think that's a fair enough point. I think that's a good movement. But one thing, Amorim, I'm not saying anything about him right now. There are things that he does that I'm still trying to like, is this going to be the right one for us long term? I don't know. Yeah, I'm just putting it out there about Amorim. I'm kind of like in the middle. If he was to stay, great. If he was to go, no comment. Yeah, no title charge over here. Only one people that's winning the title this season. Only one.
I didn't realize, right? But I think United had pretty much their first choice back line out, didn't they? Because Maguire wasn't playing, Martinez wasn't playing, and there was a third guy. Who was it? A third guy? I know at least Maguire and Martinez weren't playing. So I mean, with you guys playing, 3 at the back, that's like what 66% of your back line that wasn't available. I mean, I don't know how much of a difference they would have made anyway, but
yeah. The thing is, here's the thing, right? I don't want to talk anything about injuries or any of those things there. It's part of the game. Injuries are going to happen. The whole point of having, more than 11 players is to be able to take care of those things there. So, so that's kind of why I just don't say anything about that. Can we definitely, obviously, I think that's the thing, we are moving in the right direction, in terms of we got rid of some players, we brought some players in. I think, whether we do anything in January, I don't know. But moving into the summertime, I'm sure we're going to start to make some changes. Obviously, midfield definitely need to take care of that. But again, slowly but surely, I think, going into next season, I think we're going to be in a much healthier position that we are right now. And healthier means a couple more games won. If we keep on fixing those small holes there, whether or not people want to do it for banter or not, I think, we know that there's some action actually happening there at United if a couple of things actually sorted out.
Yeah, I mean, you guys play some. I mean, I think I'll say it in the group that we was in. Now, I see you guys as like the most entertaining team to watch because it's goals at both ends. It's non-stop action. So you guys are a fun team to watch. But I can't really imagine that's conducive to a title charge. I mean, I know you don't want to talk about it, but some of your fans have in the past suggested that you can, maybe go and challenge for the title this season. But I think in order to do that, I think you guys are going to have to stop leaking goals. And I think with just to add quickly, I think with the fact that you've got, I think Ahmad and Mbeumo off to the African Cup of Nations now. Yeah, man. I think
Mazraoui
and Mazraoui as well. I think these next few games are going to be interesting because I think next up
we've got Villa next.
You've got Villa next. Yeah.
Hey, one thing I was gonna say, right? Obviously, I not take the piss, but you don't think I hate Arsenal, and I don't. But somebody does, but I don't. Nah, I don't hate. I think this is what make me. If it wasn't for you, bro, I don't think I'd actually even say much. I don't say much about Liverpool. You get me? Or any other team. It's just because it's you.
I'm sorry, I done that to you.
It's what it is.
Sorry.
It was, but yeah, check this. Here's what I think, right? Whenever I say anything about Arsenal, right, there's been seasons when I'm like, some of those games where they should win or they shouldn't, lose. They didn't win or they didn't lose. But they answered so many questions. Like every season is like you've answered so many questions that people doubted you, or me, not even doubted you, but just what I saw in front of me. So like now this season, is really and truly, if I'm honest with you, it's like what else there is now? You're not leaking goals, so that's a really key thing. It's just we still obviously. I don't know about your forwards. You again, that your Gyökeres or whatever else, that's still up for debate. Not because of what his ability is, probably. I don't know if it's maybe his ability, maybe bit part his ability, bit part of how he's been played or how the team is playing or whatever around him. But the whole point of it is you guys now pretty much have answered most questions. You know, like even the Wolves thing there, Arsenal maybe a season before would have probably drawn that, but you didn't. And I don't. That's why I'm like, I'm genuinely, I genuinely can't anyone come and tell me about if you score through a corner, if you score through your bum, anything.
Yeah.
I don't care. The goal's a goal. 3 points are 3 points. Move on to the next. That's what I'd be saying if anyone's chatting that to me. So that's why I never really chat that to anybody, although it's fun, you know, the corner FC thing. But, you know, at the end of the day, it looks like our stats as well. We've got some corner goals as well. So it's like a lot of the stats that talk about, I don't really, you know, buy into that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Gav, let's bring
We
you.
moved on.
What was your case?
Have we moved on?
No,
Have we moved on to Arsenal?
No,
Okay,
we're gonna get your thoughts on
Good, because I got a question. I got a question for Cyril if we are talking about Arsenal. But United, I'll be completely honest. United, I turned on the game. I watched what was happening. I saw them score first. I hate watching United win. I switched it off, fell asleep, and I woke up to Cyril messaging the group saying I knew they were going to score again. And a lot of stuff was going on in the group. So I switched the TV on, I saw it was 4-4. And I just think it's embarrassing, if I'm being honest. And I'm not having a go, like, I just think it's really bad. And the reason why I think it's embarrassing is because there's been a lot of hype around United. And I think it's interesting seeing the tone or hearing the tone that's coming out of United and seeing what's happening with United. Because it reminds me of us. It reminds me of the time when we was in the mud. Probably Emery to Arteta era. There was that period there, and in definitely the first season, maybe the second season as well, with Arteta, it was just like we were really bad, and it's all that thing of you start to realize you may never come back from this, because I weren't sure if we would, but we're here now, and I just think I listened to what Cyril's saying and looking for the little positive glimmers of hope, but I just don't see it. I don't see it with Amorim. I don't see it with the players they've got, and I just don't see it being the United that I grew up to know and hate. I was going to say know and love, but the reason I hate United is because of how good they were, because of how dominant they were, because of them having icons. Like I was racking my brain this morning trying to think of the icons they have, and I think there's nothing happening over there to make me think that this guy's changing it or this guy's going to work. And I think the fans have tried to hold on to things that aren't really good. So talking about Heaven, when we sold Heaven or when he left or whatever, we was made to think that there was a big coup and he's going to be this great defender and he's got all this potential. But now he's dead. Like he's not doing nothing. He's a young kid, but he's not good. Do you know what I mean? We've got young kids in defence and they're doing all right. Like Skelly's on his way to the World Cup, possibly. And then you look at like the striker Cheeto, he's getting called out by the manager because he can't get into under 18s. This was the guy that we was told we should have kept because he's going to be the next best thing and all the rest. So I think all these little things that happened at United, they're just coming to pass now. And I personally, I don't think they're going to get relegated or nothing crazy like that. And I did say at the beginning of the season, I think Amorim will be okay. But by okay, I meant where they are now. I think that's where they're going to be. And how they recover from that. My thinking is, how are they going to recover when there's so much money being made in the European competitions? I said this in the summer, I think, or last season. I was saying this, like, we earned the most and we didn't win anything. Like from competitions, we earned the most and we didn't win a trophy, as everyone wants to remind us. And every season we're going to be earning more and more money. And every season they stay out of Europe, it's going to cost them more. I think maybe you, Dave, shared something about that situation. So yeah, the game. I don't know. Maybe I should have watched it because obviously maybe I could have given them a better analysis on the game. But it was. A part of me thought they're going to win this because they look good for the first 15, 20 minutes. I think Cyril alluded to the fact they should have scored more goals in the first half. From what I saw, they probably should have. And I only saw a part of it. But then you see the final scoreline and I see the goals and I'm just like, you can't live like that. You can't survive like that. That's what we were like when we had the Mustafis and all the rest of it at the back. It was terrible. Yeah. People will complain that we're too defensive and we're this and we're that, but you need that foundation. I think United need to build a foundation at the back to be able to I don't know. Like everyone speaks about their attack being poor last season. Okay, I get it, but defense would have probably been the bigger priority for me, especially if the style of play that Amarin's going for, and it's never going to work no matter who you got up top.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's a fair
I think-
analysis. Go on, Sarah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I agree with you in terms of when you said icons. I'm like, yeah, of course, there's no one in the team right now that I can look at and be like, yeah, this person is elite level. I mean, obviously, I think Bruno is definitely. I don't understand a lot of times what Bruno's hate is for, but I think Bruno's quality, man. But at the same time, what I do agree with you in terms of the defense definitely needs this thing. But what I've noticed me personally is that they've been building, they've been trying to like get different players in, and also they're going to be getting players out as well. So I think there's that there happening. I'm pretty sure Ugarte obviously knows this is probably on his way out. We sold some players last season, even though we probably didn't get some much money from them. We still got Rashford that we'll probably get some money for. So I'm assuming he's going to stay at Barcelona. They don't want to buy him. I don't know how they're going to do that. But when you say about United and obviously the money situation, there's a one part of me that says, okay, yes, I hear what you're saying. But there's another part where I'm also like, this is still Manchester United, and Manchester United still generates a lot of money as well, And obviously, I understand Champions League money is definitely different, wherever else, right? But United still have money coming through, and even like the game days and all these kind of different things that come through and all of that stuff there. There's definitely, money available. I know for next season for us to be able to go out there and get whatever players we're going to need in the areas we're going to need them in, whilst also getting players out as well. So I don't think, I think if we continue like this and not being in Europe, consistently for multiple seasons, like 2 more seasons out of Europe, I don't think that's going to be beneficial to us. But I think if we can continue to be where we are right now, push to be top 5, break into top 4, even if it's not this season, next season, then for sure, I think it's going to be a completely different situation for us. And we can definitely attract the players, United, regardless of what anyone says, of what's going on with it right now, it still has its pull. Now, will Amarim be at the helm by that stage there? I don't know. But I definitely know potentially with a different manager, maybe I'm speaking to whatever, but maybe United would probably do even better with a different manager. I don't know. I still feel like the players we could probably maximize, get a little bit more out of the squad that we actually have. Sometimes it makes some decisions that I don't get. The amount of defenders that change throughout a game. Sometimes when we should be actually putting forwards and attackers in, we're putting defenders on. So there's a lot of things that he's been doing over time that I'm like, I probably wouldn't have done that. Obviously, that's not what I'm used to. But again, it's like, it's not the old Man United. But I think the core of attacking football, like what we saw the other day, the attack, all that stuff there, that's the United that we know. But then obviously, when we attacked, we also used to kill games. We now have to kill games. We're getting ahead, but we're not killing games, and that's the biggest problem. Like we so many times we've gone ahead, we've had the lead, and we've gone from a lead to a draw, or we've then gone from a lead to a losing position to then come back to a draw, which is not.
I mean,
healthy at all.
From an outsider looking in, I think United are going to be all right this season. And by all right, I think they're going to make a European position. That's what I believe. I do expect United to get a top 6 finishing position.
Really?
I do, honestly, I do, because if we look at the table, okay, like you've got the top 4: Arsenal, Man City, Aston Villa, Chelsea. I'm not sure how much I believe in Aston Villa's position right now. I think they have got a bit lucky with some of their results. Okay, whether that continues or not. Plus, it's Emery's going to Emery. We'll see how Villa does. But even if you say Villa are going to keep their top 4, top 5 position, right? You've got Crystal Palace in 5th place on 26 points. I expect United to finish above them, right? You've also got Liverpool on 26, and United are on 26 as well, and Sunderland on 26 as well. Now, below them, you've got Everton, who are on 24, Brighton 23, Spurs 22, Newcastle on 22, Bournemouth now on 21 after that blistering start. If Bournemouth go and lose Semenyo in January, you can write them off for a top 6 finish, right? All of those teams below Liverpool, who are currently in 7th, You got Sunderland, Everton, Brighton, Spurs, Newcastle. It's only really Newcastle that I look at and go, all right, do you know what? Things break right for them. They got a nice set of fixtures coming up. Perhaps they can make some noise. But to be honest, I don't see Palace staying in fifth. I think Man United and Liverpool will probably move up the table, so to speak. And then it pretty much just comes down to, can Villa really sort of maintain this? And it remains to be seen. Like, obviously, the game between them two will go a long way to deciding that this weekend. But even if United do lose that, they got to come. They got to play Villa again at some point later on in the season. Anyway, so it remains to be seen. I mean, from Palace in fifth to Newcastle in 12th, there's 4 points there. Like, it's all up for grabs. And I just think the way that United attack, like, they look good going forwards, and they should have won that game against Bournemouth. They really should, well and truly should have done. They could have lost it, because when it was 4-4, Bournemouth had a couple of chances, but United could have won that. And I think, I don't know if they're going to reach the 65 points that Nigel has set them. Like, that all remains to be seen. But I'd be surprised if United don't make Europe this season, being perfectly honest.
Did you look at what 65 points would have got you last season?
No, but if you give me a sec, I can quickly look that up.
Tell me what position they would have finished last season with 65 points, which you don't think they'll get.
With 65 points. I didn't say I don't think they'll get it. It's just I don't know if.
It's 60 points as well. Nigel will be quick to correct you on that. It's 60 points.
Okay, so if we look quickly at the Premier League table from last season, 65 points would have got. That can't be right.
It's right, bro. So the
would have got them third.
Third.
That's what it's saying. I don't know if that's. I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah, no, you're looking at the wrong one.
What was the point you're trying to make, guys?
Because I checked this the other day when Nigel was talking about it. I'm thinking, where's he get? Like, what's the basis he's putting this on?
Sorry,
I might be wrong.
It would have got them. It would have got them seventh. Sorry.
Seventh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought seventh or eighth.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I see them finishing. And this is why, because I was trying to think, why does he keep saying this 60 points? I think it was after the pod last week. I was thinking, why does he keep saying this 60 points? What would I actually achieve for them? Because he's not. That was it. I'm trying to talk about bet me on top four, and he was like 60 points, 60 points. I was like, all right, let me see what this 60 points is. Let's see what this actually where it will fall if it was last season, and it's outside the top six. So, and that's what he sees as like a great season, like a big achievement for you lot. And I'm like, I don't know if you're going to get.
I don't think he's
saying
it's a great season achievement. Sorry to cut you off. If you want to finish your point, you can. But I don't think he's trying to say that's going to be a great season. But to go from 15th to 7th or 8th is definitely.
Bro, the 15th was a false position.
Okay, guys, let me ask you.
Question, right? I don't accept that. I don't accept that talk. Okay, cool. It's Manchester United. We can't be saying it's all right to be. We're going to do better than 15th or wherever it was, 14th. I can't remember what you think.
Of course, but fair. What you're saying, I don't expect or believe that's what we should be, but that's where we've been. Right. So it's football, right? And you know how football. You guys have been trying for what? 7
You're breaking up.
You slowly. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, just about. Go on.
Did I go? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
So what I'm saying is, right, I don't disagree that that's not where Man United should be. But at the same time, think about, we finished 15th, right? 15th. So forget about United. Any team finishing 15th in the Prem and then trying to be now going 6th, 7th or whatever, even 8th, is definitely a big improvement. Now, does it mean that it's something that we should be happy with? Of course not. But again, you know, we're trying to, football, we have to bring the players in. We have to this is still not a great team, as you already know. So, look at midfield. We already know about that. And so I don't think. Oh man, quick one again. Does that go again?
No, you're still there. But I get the gist of what you're trying to say anyway. But
Can I go again?
no, we can still hear you. But I get the gist of what you're trying to say. Like, obviously, going from
I'm
15,
gonna just
which
go
I
downstairs.
believe the 15th was a false equivalency position. I don't really think that was the genuine, quality of United finishing.
They should never have finished 15th or
They should never
14th.
finish. They should never
It
finish.
should never have been.
Yeah.
You can't. I don't see. I feel like it's like a safety net, but it shouldn't be. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
Like the amount they spent prior to that season, the amount they spent last summer, even everyone thought they were going to have financial restraints, and fair play to them. Like the stuff that's going on at Man United, there's a lot going on, and I don't know. Me personally, I weren't happy when Arsenal finished 8th and 8th.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we finished 14th, oh my god, it probably would have caused a civil war in London. Like it would have just been a madness, especially that era, that AFTV era we was in. But to then be like, oh, if we finish 8th, we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Like, we never would have got away with that. And this is meant to be Manchester United, Great Chester United as they call them. I'm just not buying that as something that's okay. I think it's a little bit of I don't know, like damage control. That's what I feel like it is.
I don't think it's okay.
Like damage control.
I think for all of you guys, right? Football. We're talking football here. We're not talking about we wouldn't be able to allow you to get away with it, because I'm not one of those people who does that. I have it's true, because it's true. I call you out on what to call you out on. It's not. So I wouldn't call a team who's gone from 15th to 8th, 7th, or 6th like, oh, that's no, because if you think about it, Arsenal for however many years, you guys have not even, like.
Hold on. Before you, I know where you're going. Before you finish that, let me ask you something, okay? Do you think that 15th was a realistic position, or was it a false position?
Both. I think, to be fair,
you was okay with finishing 14th. Like you thought, oh, he's done all right to be at 14th. That's where you expected to be.
No, of course not. I don't think that's
Okay.
where we should ever be. But then I'm also looking at the things that was happening with the team and with the players that we had and all the stuff. And it's just the bad vibes and bad energy and the disrespect that some of these players gave and all of that stuff there. I'm like, come on, like I understand why things were, and I think even the way Amorim, I think there was a lot of different things going on. These guys, what happened with Ten Hag, them sacking him, bringing Amorim in when he wasn't even, ready to be in that situation there. He said he didn't want it right there and there. They said, this is what you're going to actually have to deal with. So I think he came in, not prepared, and then also more importantly, he also was stubborn. So I think he didn't, he also wanted to, make his mark, get rid of players, all these different things that was going on. So there was a lot of things that was happening. It's not just, it was just 15th. Like, you can't tell me Rashford, who's going out there banging out, doing what he's doing right now in Barcelona, couldn't have done that at United. But clearly, whatever was going on, that's what was happening. So there was definitely things that was happening with the players. And, internally, that was also playing out over there, as we already know. So we need to, if we're going to call things out, let's at least be realistic and see everything else that was going on. You can't, like, for example, this season, I can take the mick out of you lot, but I can see what's happening with your defense. I can see what's happening with your team. Like, I don't want to talk about anything to do with, injuries, because I remember when we spoke about injuries, we wasn't allowed. So no one talk about injuries, but I'm not stupid. I can see the impact it has when players from your team are not playing, or when, all the things that's actually going on. You can see that. So by the end of the day, obviously, I get it, because, at this stage now, it's been 8 years building a team to win the league, so you should be winning the league. One thing I was going to say to you, though, which was the point I was going to actually ask you, Gav, you mentioned that the last time, or where we are right now, kind of reminds you Emery / Arteta days. Based on what you're seeing from us right now, and based on what the potential is going on right now, do you think it will take us the same amount of time for us to get to our team to be competing where Arsenal's competing right now? Do you think it'll take us 8 years or 6 years, or how many years it's taking you guys to get there? Do you think that's how long it'll take for us to be getting to the position you guys are in right now, based on what you've been seeing so far from the trajectory of the team?
Based on what I'm seeing right now, if Amarin is going to be your Arteta, you're never going to get to where we are.
I already said that, but again, the reality of it.
But this is what I'm saying. So we're talking about a guy. If you'd asked me when Emery was in charge, especially the season where we was where you lot finished, people forget about it. And this is one of the things that annoys me. And all what you said was great. I hear what you're saying, but I didn't hear none of this when we finished 8th. We didn't get Arteta didn't get no praise for finishing 8th from winning the FA Cup because he come into an absolute shit show. Similar sort of shit show that a manager would come in, because it was around this time in 2019 when he came into Arsenal. So if a new manager, which you're sort of alluding to, needs to come into Man United to do what Arteta did, he's going to come into the shit show that we have now. We've got all this grace, and we've got all this calm that needs to be considered for Amarin and United and all what's going on around the club, which we didn't get with Arteta. We didn't get that when we lost our key linchpin centre-back and then we bottled the league because Saliba was injured. We should have won that. We should have won that Premier League. We had Holding at the back, but no one says we can't use that. We're not allowed to use that. But however, we don't know who your next manager is going to be. So that may well happen. But right now, if you lot are banking on Amarin, and a lot of your fans are banking on Amarin to take you to the place where United should be, i.e. challenging, it ain't going to happen. It's not happening with him. I don't see anything about him. Or you're bored. You spoke about Bruno, which I actually rate Bruno. I think he's a good player, but they don't like him.
I don't think
Like the actual ownership, they don't like. It's a mess. It's a mess over there. Sorry, one more point. Another reason why I don't see you getting to where Arsenal are is because of your ownership. Is because of is it what are they called? I forgot what
Ineos.
Yeah, Ineos and the American guys with a bald head and ponytail. Like they're moving mad. They're moving crazy. Our ownership are successful sports club owners. Like they know what they're doing. I don't think your guys do. And all those things are the reason why I can't see United getting anywhere past where they are right now. So many things. There's more. I remember a couple years back I said I preferred our position to United's position, and I got laughed at because we were building. United were going backwards, and they were going backwards horribly. And I think Ineos have actually more harm than good, personally. But we'll see in it. I don't have the answers.
I think this summer is going to be a key one for United. I think Nigel did mention that the FFP whatever kind of refreshes for them this summer, and then we'll see their true spending power, come to the fore. So we'll see what this summer brings for them. But just to move on, obviously Chelsea winning, Villa winning, and Man City winning have kept up the pressure on Arsenal. So we'll move to Arsenal at the moment. We'll give those teams their flowers for well done picking up 3 points for each of them. But Arsenal laboured to a 2-1 victory over Wolves. In fact, if you look at the goal scorers in that game, you will see that Wolves scored 3 goals and still managed to lose 2-1 because we ended up getting 2 own goals from them. I'm going to come to you on this one first, Cyril, and then we'll come to Gav.
Okay.
Obviously, you guys have played Wolves the match before and went in halftime 1-1, came out, steamrolled them 4-1, could have been 10, right? Yes, Wolves did admittedly play a little bit different to you guys than they did with us. Even a manager came out and said, they couldn't play against us the same way that they played against you because, they felt they had more of a chance, especially being I think they were at home when they played you as well. Being at home, playing United, had more of a chance than they would do if they came out and with the same game plan against Arsenal. However, did you expect more from Arsenal from that game? Because I know that I did. 2-1. There are 2-1s that you have 15 shots and the goalkeeper makes 13 saves. But that match, that was horrible to watch. As a neutral, give us your impression of that game.
I was surprised. I was deep down. I was obviously praying for that kind of result or worse, but I was making sure that you guys don't score no 2, 3 goals or 4 goals or whatever, the 3 or 4 goals. But watching it, and the fact that it was at the carpet or whatever you guys call it, is that what you guys call it?
The carpet, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. To see that from the champions to be champions elect, not good enough. Now, here's the thing. If Arsenal do not make it through, I think this season it might be part to do with the actual squad, as in the injuries that you guys are actually having right now. You know, I can see how it affects the team, but obviously the key thing is you lot should be, you know, with your second squad or whatever, still be demolishing Wolves, the arguably the worst team Premier League history. So when I saw that, of course, and I think, you know, the thing about, you know, playing, you know, teams playing low block against you and so on, you know, I think that game there, I think they did have their part too. It's just I just don't think I think they were unlucky. I think what we'll say is in that game there, if they got a draw, we would have said okay, fair enough. If they'd won it, it would have been okay. But I don't think Arsenal deserved to win it. But you did what champions are meant to do. So I don't care how you win, as long as you win. That's what matters. That's how I look at a football game. But it was horrible to watch, to see you, and I was like so close, like that draw, and I was like, there we go again. Because if you guys are drawn, that's it. You guys will be second. The only thing I'm waiting to see is when you guys are no longer first. That's what the real champions are going to be made of. Is when you guys are no longer first, that's when we're going to actually see what's going on. Now, on the other side, City are building the momentum. And people are like, I'm like, yeah, City. I've been saying this for a minute, and people are like, yeah, right there, City, look at our squad. I'm like, hey, City also have a little squad there, and those guys are willing to, like, you know, come together. And players are carrying into form. Even, you know, what's his name? Dorku, you know, like he's definitely improved this season. You know, he's getting, you know, his final product is much better. You know, as you can see, you know, Foden's beginning to get his, you know, flow back. So I definitely think it will be between Arsenal and City this season. And I think the moment City get ahead, the power they have is they know how to be able to retain that. So whilst people are like, yeah, Haaland, if you take Haaland, Burnley, if anyone's listening, someone keeps on mentioning, oh, Burnley's the next player next to them or whatever else, you might not talking all of that stuff there, yeah, but if buts and maybes, but it's not absolutes, okay? So Haaland, you know, if he doesn't get injured, but again, having said that, look at your players that got injured. If Saka doesn't get injured, if Saliba doesn't get injured, like it's an if game, let's not play that game. What we're seeing right now is what's happening. So I think people say if, you know, Salah gets injured, it makes you feel better. That Salah before Haaland gets injured, it makes you feel better because you know that will play a big part in it. But I think now City are also being able to get goals from other people as well. You know, obviously Haaland, based on his position, is going to get those goals, but I think City can get goals from other players as well. And I feel that they actually, whilst they can probably still concede, I still think that they have the experience within the team, the team, the manager. Like, let's not forget that. Like, you know, Foden, and that's the thing. Sometimes when you're like, oh, it's not the same City. Like, there are still players that were there who've won the treble, who've won like 7 seasons, six, you know, Premier Leagues. Like, you can't.
Who?
Is it,
Who are you talking about?
Who? What?
Who are the players?
So who's there now? So Rodri is there, injured, but is there, and that's the thing. So just one thing, by the way, a player doesn't also have to physically be on the pitch to have an influence within the team. Having those players within the actual squad, within the space, makes a difference. Okay, the manager who has been able to do that was able to, you know, architect that, is still there. Right, Foden, he's got this. There's enough players there who've actually done this and who've gone on that run. So what I'm saying to you is, Arsenal, hands down, look like the favourites to win it based on what we've seen so far. More so the defending stuff, the defense has been incredible. Okay, but what I want to be able to now see is how things would be if City or anyone else get ahead of Arsenal, because I just feel, not just because of the players, it's more because of the fans as well. I feel that everyone's so desperate right now for that win, that title, that if you go behind, the manager starts making those decisions that we know he can actually make, and you're like, oh, and he starts, and once he starts making some decisions that we're not sure about, the players, you can sometimes tell the manager's confidence. Like you said, if a manager puts on defenders instead of putting on attackers, it sends a message out without sending a message out to everyone. So that will happen with Arteta, or potentially could happen with Arteta, if you guys lose that first position. And then it starts overcompensating, and that's when we might see it go,
Yeah, that's a good point. So City are playing before us, before we play Everton, and if they win that, I think City have got West Ham. You'd expect them to win that, and by the time we come to play Everton away, we could be in second spot.
And that's it. And that's it. And since you guys talk about the thing about, I'm a United fan, so I already know what the media is like. I know what everything's like. I know what other fans are like. Here's the thing: you guys have a fan base which has been, is the fan base which is big on social media. That moment, if that happens, that's it, man. Everyone's gonna be going on about it or whatever. Even though it's just because you've just not played a game, people will be talking about it. And then from then onwards, now you're gonna start. And Everton are also gonna be that going. Other teams as well. Everton's gonna be going into that game thinking, you know what, these are gonna be a bit on the edge, baby. Let's go for it. And then whatever. And then something happens, and then it's again, could go that way. And it could go completely opposite way. You go out there, you smash it, and you do what you're meant to do. You find a way to win, and you do, and then you get your trophy, and that's it. No one's gonna I don't want it to happen just because of certain fans. But if it happens, all credit due. It's long time coming. I've seen the squad. All the different things. Side note, Eze reminds me of Cunha. And what I mean by that is Cunha in the Wolves team could go wherever he wants to go, and he could actually do his thing, and he could actually play. He was the star. Eze, same thing. I think coming into Arsenal right now, obviously he's no longer that individual person that they go to for things to happen. So with him, I've just not seen what I thought I'd wanted to see from him. Definitely more goals, more assists, more of everything. That's what I would have expected to see from him. But obviously, again, his first season is getting used to the team as well. He's played at Palace for however long, so we've got to factor that in as well. Regardless of if he's got Premier League experience, you still have to adapt to your team and the management. How the manager wants you to play as well. But he kind of reminds me in terms of Cunha and him. In terms of, I would have expected Cunha to have done a lot better. Scored more goals, more assists, more everything. He's done his bits, but it's just like the Gyökeres thing. Gyökeres was there to score goals. Like we could say, Cunha has done X, Y, Z, but he's there for a reason. And so, I don't know if you guys think about the Eze thing. I'm not trying to call him out. I rate that signing. I'll take him any day in my team. So I rate that signing, but I just don't think the players are doing. I think everyone's putting together a little bit pieces, but I don't think there's anyone that's
Clicked into full gear.
Out of the saying, let's do this. But that's a team sport, though. So yeah.
Let's get your thoughts on it, Gavin, and we'll wrap the show up. What was your thoughts on that game from the weekend? And I ask you specifically because I think you were one of the fans that expected us to score a sack full of goals.
Yeah, we was meant to batter them. There was a lot of what, strangely enough, a lot of what Cyril said I agreed with. One of them was that it was surprising how poor we were. We were terrible. I feel that there's a number of factors, but at the end of the day, we're a good enough team, or we put out a good enough team to beat them.
Did we put out the right team though? And I asked that because did we really need to have two defensive midfielders against Wolves?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. But then I think it's a thing where, and this is the kind of conversation we were having about resting Rice. I don't think you can. I think without Gabriel there, we can't rest Rice and or Zubimendi in Arteta's world, in Arteta's mind. I don't think he's going to do that. And I get everyone's going to have their opinion, everyone's going to have their perspective. I get that. But when we deal with the reality, we know that Arteta's not going to go and play 4-4-2 in the next game, no matter how much I may think he should play 4-4-2, which I don't necessarily think that. So we got to work with what do we think the manager's going to do. I don't think he plays a game without 3 of Gabriel, Saliba, Rice, and Zubimendi. Any one of them that are missing due to injury, the other 3 are playing. And the reason I say that is because when we was watching Rice, Zubi, Mosquera, and Hincapi, I remember Rice coming back and telling them what to do. He had to sit back and dictate to them what to do. Now, with Saliba there, Saliba can be the general for the other one. With Saliba and Gabriel there, you got nothing to worry about. Rice, go do your thing. Or you can sit and Zubi gets rested. And then you can play a Norgard and Rice can go and do what he does. But for us to get Rice when attacking is very important to us. But I feel like when there's too many elements of that core 4, our defense is shocking. Our attack also gets affected too. Maybe I'm looking to it too deep, but I feel like that quartet is the engine of this team this season. The defensive unit you're seeing was because of them 4 players. And you take one of them out, it's like taking a key cog out of an engine, and the car's not going to start anymore. It's just how I think it works. And Gabriel is probably our most important player, but then if you drop Saliba out, Saliba then becomes our most important player. And Rice and Zubi, either one of them 2 can be our most important player on any given Sunday. So all 4 of them need to be back for us to be the team that I think we are and I think we're going to be. So let's hope Gabriel makes a recovery and we can keep the rest of them fit, manage them better, etc., etc. But yeah, we were terrible.
Yeah, I mean, Gabriel is due back, or he's aiming to be back by the end of the month, as is Kai Havertz. And I think him returning is going to be a big help. Oddly enough, a big help for Gyökeres because it allows him to maybe come out the limelight a little bit, especially with Gabriel Jesus back as well.
I think the Gyökeres stuff as well. I'm on the fence. I was fully backing him, but I'm on the fence now a little bit because what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing. He needs to do more. I think we had a brief conversation. I personally feel, and Martinelli did shoot, but I want to see a hungry, selfish gunman. I remember watching the likes of Van Nistelrooy. The ball came across his face. I don't know what he was thinking. Obviously, I'm not in his brain like that. Pause. But like at the end of the day, he's leaning back. I'm throwing my body at it. I'm not letting my mate score. And especially when I haven't scored for how many games, I'm greedy. Haaland ain't letting that go past him. Yep. Haaland's putting that in. That's the difference with where he's at and what we need, in my opinion. But at the same time, he offers a lot. He does draw players out, or did, prior to his injury, draw players out and allowed the forwards to score, which is what Havertz does better. So I don't know about Gyökeres.
Do you think the criticism that Gyökeres is receiving right now is fair, especially when you consider that
no, I don't.
That aren't getting the same level of scrutiny.
Well, if you look at the strikers in the teams, and I'm going to come on to the other teams properly in a second. But if you look at the strikers that in the teams that are meant to be challenging, or the big teams that we thought at the beginning of the season were going to be in the challenging for the title, Isak signed for Liverpool for more money, scored less goals. Pedro signed for Chelsea, more money, scored less goals. And there's one other I'm forgetting. Sesko signed for United for more money and scored less goals. Gyökeres is getting the Arsenal treatment. I think it was Saka I heard in the interview say, when you play for Arsenal, everything gets scrutinized. Like, these boys are telling him what to expect. He knows. Remember the hair flick celebration? That was when he knew. He knew where he was at and what he was going to be getting. At the end of the day, he's not lighting up the Premier League like we expected him to. But who is? Haaland, the robot. And that's it. Don't get me wrong, if there's 4 or 5 other strikers that were lighting up the Premier League, then I'd say, what's going on here? But Watkins, he was meant to be the biggest gunman around it from England. A season or 2 ago? That was what we was catting for. I wanted Watkins. He's been struggling. There's so many strikers that have been struggling. Maybe it's the way the game's being played. The low blocks definitely affected him because what he is a specialist at, these defenders know we're not playing against the brick walls. They have minds. They have like tactics. Their managers tell them what to do to stop him from scoring, and he's got to find a way. That's where it comes onto him. We've got to find a way for him. There has been stuff that Odegaard's not done for him to favour him. Eze, I think, is good for him, but Eze is struggling. Eze's struggling with the low block as well. Like, we need to remember that the players that we want to affect the team. He played for Palace. No one was coming to Palace and parking the bus. He had the space to do what he does. No one, like, we saw what my man was doing in the highlight reels at the Sport in Lisbon. No one was parking the bus when Gyökeres was coming to town. It just didn't happen. So those are the things that we'll need to change. When it comes to the whole title race thing, cool. I'm presuming, based on what Cyril was saying, that City are our challengers. It's us and City. And I don't really hear no one talking about Chelsea anymore. That lasted 48 hours and then that was gone. So we're talking about City. Now, everyone's saying that the result against Wolves, the way we won against Wolves was shocking. I'll agree. It weren't good. But City did something similar like a couple of weeks ago. So if they're the ones that are showing momentum and they're the ones that are going to be the benchmark that we need to match, was it Leeds or whoever it was they were playing and they would like 4 or 5 goals up and then they almost drew the game?
Fulham.
Was it Fulham?
Yeah.
And they almost drew the game. Like, it's the same thing.
What?
It's the same thing. But so we can't be saying that what happened to Arsenal we need to be worried about, etc., when we've lost one game since the Liverpool game in August. We can't be doing that. We either gonna analyze everyone the same and admit that there's going to be blips and we need to be ready for these blips. And if this is the blip, then I'll take it. I'll take a late last minute winner, own goal against Wolves, who we've seen some dark days against our lads. Because I live up here, so I know what it's like losing to us. Losing to Wolves more than most. Yeah, and we've had some dark days. They're not the easiest team for us to beat historically. They were set up to defend. They played differently to how they played against United, which is why I ignorantly thought we'd go out there and batter them. However, we're going to have these days. And one thing which leads me on to another point that I agree with Cyril, some of our fans ain't got the bottle. They haven't got the balls to go through the title challenge. They want it to be nice and easy, and we're just going to cruise. And I think we're going to win the league. We could have lost. We could have dropped points. I still would have come in here with the same energy because we're going to drop points on the way to getting there. We're not going to be first the whole way. We may start the game on when we're playing Sunday, Saturday, at the weekend. We may start the game in second place. We're gonna have to do that
Saturday evening.
And then to go on to my final point about what happens when we finish second, I actually think that's when we're dangerous. I think we're more dangerous in second place chasing than we would be sitting at first, because that's when we have to, the pressure's slightly off and we're the ones chasing City. Being chased by City ain't nice. We know that. Liverpool fans used to say that to me and I didn't get it. I don't think it's the same City, but I think our players, our fans, etc., initially it won't be nice being second, but if we're in touching distance and we constantly have the opportunity to go ahead of them, I think we'll catch them, especially with the fixtures we got coming up in the new year. So it was a horrible game, horrible performance, amazing result, because 3 points is 3 points. Whether you win by 5 goals or you win by 1, we still get the same 3 points. So overall, I'm happy. I would have been pissed if we drew, but I'm happy.
Fair enough. Go on, Cyril, you want to add something before I end the show? You want to add something before I end the show?
Yeah, no, I was just look. The thing you said about City having their blips and stuff, every team is going to have that. And granted, you guys have done really well. Like I said, I think the defensive record has been incredible. I'd love to be back in that spot again. But I do think it's going to come down to, again, playing devil's advocate over here. Let's say that happens with City go ahead. I think that game on Saturday is going to sort of give you an understanding of where your team's at as well, because these are some of the things that have to happen with, the champions. Like, for example, you guys, if you look at, let's say it's going to be City, for example, well, look at what's happened to them this season. They've not played too great throughout the season. but they're still finding the way where they are right now. So likewise for you guys, doesn't matter if you have maybe a bad period or a bad couple of games. What matters is obviously again, dusting that off and not letting it actually affect you in the other games. What key thing I was going to say to you as well, which is something I think is going to probably play out as well, based on your fixtures, as in the amount of competitions that you guys are actually in right now, I think that would also potentially, towards the back end of the season, play its toll on you, dependent on, injuries as well. So, for example, as you guys go to the Champions League, you guys are still in the FA Cup, Carabao, so all of those games will start coming thick and fast as the season goes on. So that could also play, a role on how you guys finish as well in the league this season.
Yeah.
You know why? Do you know why I don't talk about the games we got to play?
Why?
Because City got to do it too. Every time we play, City are going to play the same amount of games as us. I don't see them having any easier fixture list than us. We can't use that against City.
But
the only team that I would have been like, oh, maybe if they could have got into the championship, this ain't shade. If they could have got into the championship race, would have been United, because you're playing one game a week. Everyone's got the same blocked up schedule, presuming we all get as far into the Champions League, etc.
But whilst City have had that happen or happening to them, they've also won 3 of those competitions in one season. That's the point of what I'm saying. Like, they have they have a manager who is still at the helm, who knows how to navigate that period there to be able to win those competitions. So what I'm saying is, you have a manager who we know at times can do Arteta things. So what I'm saying is, as time goes on, I think what he'll be judged on is some of his decision making as time goes on, because sometimes his decision making in some games, you would have thought he should have attacked it differently, should have played it differently. So that's kind of like, again, another element of it. It's no longer naive as he was before, but I still think Arteta will still do Arteta things as things ramp up, towards the end of the season. So that's what, maybe we can come back to this again in this conversation, this point I'm making here, and see how that plays out later on in the future.
All right. On that note, gents, gonna end the show here. By the time we come back after the Christmas period, we're gonna have a very definitive, looking table, because by that point, Chelsea would have played against Newcastle and Aston Villa. Aston Villa would have played Man United and Chelsea. Man City would have played Nottingham Forest and West Ham this weekend, and Arsenal would have played Everton and Brighton. And obviously, we cannot forget Liverpool. They have Tottenham away this weekend, and then Wolves. So by the time we're back in and around the 28th of December, it's going to be a very different looking table, but we'll deal with that as it comes. On that note, gents, thank you for joining, and to the viewers, thank you for staying this long. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all of that good YouTube stuff. On that note, thank you all. See you soon.
Let's go.